Let's call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please read the roll?
Yes, Ms. Cole.
Here.
Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Jones is absent, so Mr. Welper.
Here.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the agenda is proposed, and also the minutes of July 13th.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have new business.
Madam Chairperson, I'd be
Thank
delighted
you.
to take that. First, we have Sergeant Farmer, Sergeant Bowes, and Officer Bovee to travel for the selection and purchase of a new K-9 in Denver, Indiana, August 10th through the 12th, at an amount not to exceed $1,084. Next, we have Jacob Frederick, fitness specialist at the Sportsplex, to attend the Midwest Mania in Rosemont, Illinois, September 24th through the 27th, at an amount not to exceed $1,010. Eric Thorson, city engineer, to attend the 2015 APWA Iowa Chapter Fall Conference at Marion, Iowa, August 19th through the 21st, at an amount not to exceed $317. And then we have Lieutenant Luck and Lieutenant Ferguson to attend the Fire Investigation Seminar in Davenport, Iowa, September 15th through the 18th, at an amount not to exceed $1,162.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion?
I have a question. On item number 1 and item number 4. Dan, on item number 1, is that typical that we would send 3 officers to pick up a dog? Is that normal procedure?
Dan Truck, the Director of Safety Services. It is, because there are many dogs for them to choose from. Sergeant Farmer is a trainer, Sergeant Bowes is a K-9 supervisor, and Officer Bovee is a K-9 officer. So they want to pick the best dog for our needs.
Okay. And is this a replacement K-9? Did we lose one?
It is. One just got old.
Okay. And then that was pretty cold, wasn't it? I feel pretty bad. And on item number 4, is that for certification or testing?
It is not.
It is not. Okay. I thought in the paperwork it said it was.
If the paperwork
Maybe
says it was, it's more accurate than I
Okay,
am.
maybe I misread it. So, all right. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
All in favor vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Madam
Those
Chair.
its pass.
Madam Chair, I'll take the pre-auths.
Thank you.
Okay. For Central Garage, the amount estimated at $2,100 plus $250 for shipping and handling, and that's for cylinders for 2 track hole. Housing Authority, the amount of $500 for cash for the refreshments for the fiscal year 16 resident meetings per HUD regulations to be held at Ridgeway Towers, dates to be announced. Leisure Services, amount of $2,606.10 plus $100 shipping and handling. That's for 6 picnic tables for the new Upper Gate Shelter. Leisure Services in the amount of $1,836.20. That's for a touchless cleaning system for more efficient restroom and locker room cleaning at the Sportsplex and at the public pools. Leisure Services in the amount of $3,850 for upgrading our scoreboard controllers. Leisure Services for $5,800 for services from Midwest Athletic Fields for the conversion of the Hellman Field and baseball-only field to combination baseball-softball. Police for $5,085 for 15 Eltron driver's license barcode image scanners. Police in the amount of $5,895 for 9 docking stations and power adapters for the computers in the squad cars. Police for $2,404.31 for 181 4x8 sheets of plywood to cut down 2x8 widths for shelves in the property evidence building.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
I had 2 quick questions. First, Paul, for the touchless cleaning system at the Sportsplex. Is that something that was in your budget? Is that a new item? Is that something coming out of the winter grant, or how's that being funded?
It's in our current budgets, plural, because we're going to split it between the sports budget to be used at the pools and the Sportsplex to be used part of the time too. So we've split it 50/50 out of the two operating budgets.
Okay.
So yes, it's in there, but it's not grant money.
Okay, all right. And then Dan, if I could confirm that the plywood is for the building across the street, the $2,404.31.
It is, yes.
Thank you. That's all I had.
All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
I
sign.
would vote aye on everything but the last item for the building across the street.
Okay. I move that we pay the bills this week, and they are $2,377,092.82, 2,377,092.82.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Waterloo City Council this Monday, July 20th. Welcome to all of you and staff. We have a couple of groups here that are going to give us some really cool information. Madam Clerk, would you start with the roll, though, please?
Yes, Ms. Cole.
Here.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Lynn.
Here.
Mr. Morrissey.
Here.
Mr. Welper.
Here.
Mr. Hart.
Here.
Very good. If you would all join me, please, those of you that can, and in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And I'm sorry, for a moment of silence first. Let's recognize that for silent prayer or just reflection, if you like. Thank you very much. Our Pledge of Allegiance tonight is going to be led by Mr. Eric Thorson, our city engineer. Eric, please.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hart?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as proposed and also to approve the minutes of July 13th regular session.
Second.
Council, do you have any questions or comments regarding either the minutes or the agenda? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We're going to start with the proclamation tonight, and then we have a couple of groups to recognize. So Dennis Clark and Larry Smith, you guys are both up here now. Why don't you come on up and let's do this. Come on over. Larry Smith is the director of our wastewater treatment facility, and Dennis Clark is the president, CEO, head person of the Waterloo Water Works. And we are here today with a proclamation to recognize Water and Wastewater Workers of Iowa Week. Whereas our surface and groundwaters are a treasured natural resource, and whereas the water and wastewater workforce of the city of Waterloo have dedicated themselves to applying environmental science to enhance the drinking and recreational waters of our great city, and whereas their applied environmental science-based knowledge and practices continue to be a vital element in improving the quality of life for our citizens and visitors, and whereas these employees preserve and protect the public's health in our city while promoting sustainability in our way of living. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Buck Clark, Mayor of the City of Waterloo, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the week of July 19th as Water and Wastewater Workers of Iowa Week. Larry, do you have a proclamation? Dennis, would either one of you like to speak?
Yeah, can I sit down?
Yeah, you can sit down. Okay. Dennis, would you like to say anything? No, that's right. All right, very good. Thanks, Dennis. You bet. Let's bring William Muhammad. Why don't you come on up, William, and bring as many or all of your folks with you as you'd like, and explain to us what you've got going and so forth. You can come up here if you want. Why don't you go on up here? Well, yeah, you gotta pay the price to come up here. Oh, okay. Just come on up. Girls, come on up. You guys, come on up. I'm gonna give you the microphone because I'll let you explain who we have here. Ladies, just kind of couple of you get over here and a couple of you get over there. And hi there, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi there. Good to see you. William Muhammad, probably many of you don't know him. Maybe some of you do, but talking about a really positive influence on the city of Waterloo, and many of our youth that have been involved in Mr. Muhammad's programs are fortunate to have been under his tutelage for a while. And he's got a program that he wants to tell us about. So, stage is yours. You got to talk right into that. Okay.
Well, first,
There you go.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I want to thank you all for allowing us this opportunity to briefly speak to you all. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Of course, there's nothing I can do myself. It's by the grace of the good Lord that I'm privileged to work with such young people in our community. My name is William Muhammad. I go by Coach Corey. I am the co-founder, co-director of the Impact Foundation, which simply means I am part of a change today and tomorrow. It's a youth organization that began in 2005, and we were just trying to give opportunities to young boys and girls in our community, Waterloo, Cedar Falls, and the Cedar Valley. What you see here today, one of the roles that I play at Impact is I oversee the athletic side of Impact. We do multiple things. We've co-hosted blood drives, juvenile diabetes walks, MS walks, backpacks at the Cedar Valley Food Bank, and different things like that. It's just another way of reaching our youth in our community, showing them different outlets and giving them different opportunities, more than what's being cast about the youth in our community throughout the state. Waterloo has more to offer than what the stereotype can sometimes be. With that being said, what you have here, Kitra Bill, Alana Muhammad, Zoe Tooney, Sahara Williams are just 4 of the girls on our Impact track and field team that have qualified for the Junior Olympics in Norfolk, Virginia, August 1st through the 8th. And we contacted our council member with some good news. We're just asking for support from the community. And so that's all I wanted to say. But Kitra, we would like her to share something because it's all about the youth. I'm fortunate to work with the youth, but we only can carry them so far, and they really have to work themselves to get things that they need to get accomplished. So Kitra Bill would like to share a few things with you all.
All right, I have a little speech.
You got to talk right into the mic.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Kitra Bell. I'm 15 years old, and I'm a sophomore at Waterloo West High. I'm also a member of Impact Track, coached by Terry, Corey, and Aaron, but he's not here today. But it all started last summer with an idea. Zoe and I went to Hoover Middle School together, and Alana went to Carver. We all did track. Coach Terry, but what we know him as Coach K, would do anything to see us 3 girls run together. But 3 girls didn't satisfy Terry's vision, so we added 4 amazingly talented runners: Jasmine Dunn, Amani Clark, Jada Blair, and Julia Dillard. With 7 girls, we made a great impression, all eyes on Impact Track. Our race that we were known for is the 4x1. It was unstoppable. Last year, Nationals was in Des Moines, Iowa at Drake University. We placed 10th overall in the nation. We were not expecting how successful this season would go for us, but we couldn't wait for the next season. This season, we have 17 girls on the team, and these girls are the best of the best. Thanks to these ladies, our team is bigger and better. Not only do we specialize in the 4x1, but we also do individual events, including long jump, high jump, and the 4x4. We have girls from 6-year-olds to 16-year-olds. And this year we've qualified for North Fork, Virginia from August 1st to August 8th. At the beginning of the season, qualifying for nationals was the goal, and now that we've qualified, we promise that we will train and work hard and do our best performance so everyone can see the amazing talent that we have in Waterloo, Iowa. We are so thankful for the love and support that we're getting from the city. It really means a lot to us. I love every single one of these girls on our team. It's like a big family. Impact stands for I am a part of change today and tomorrow. And it isn't about all winning. It's about working together and showing people why we have the name Impact on our shirts. These girls show a great example at school, outside of track, at practices, and also meets. It is so important to us that we represent our community in the best ways possible. And this is only the beginning. We plan to be more successful throughout all the years. Together, we've made a huge change, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. The idea of creating a track team at the beginning seemed crazy, but that crazy idea got us to where we are today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Good job.
If you would like to support these young ladies in the effort to get to the Junior Olympics, you can go to impactfoundation@gmail.com, P.O. Box 891, Waterloo, Iowa 50704 to mail your tax-deductible contribution, because we're not turning away any type of help. It's greatly appreciated. We have some wonderful young ladies and a couple of gentlemen in our community that represent our community very well, and it's a great opportunity for them. Thank you.
Well, we know that you will get it done, William, and we know that you girls and the rest of your team will represent Waterloo very well. So God bless you. God bless you for what you're doing, and all you girls for being involved. Thank you so much. Good luck. And our next presentation, Quentin, why don't you come on up? Many of you, those regular folks that come to the meetings all the time, annually we have a program that comes to Waterloo, and the name of the program is From the Heart. And it's H-E-A-R-T, not necessarily H-A-R-T. Although we're incredibly fortunate that our council member from the 4th Ward and our Mayor Pro Tem, Quentin Hart, picked up this torch, Quentin, several years ago, and started kind of sponsoring and promoting and directing the From the Heart program. As you can see, we have another group of young folks. So with our athletes and with these guys, we're just blessed. I'm going to have Councilman Hart, though, kind of explain what this group does, how they impact our city.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the council for recognizing our young people today and the rest of the audience. This is the From the Heart program, and as Mayor said, it's H-E-A-R-T, not H-A-R-T. But it's been a pleasure and honor over the last 8-9 years working with group work camps out of Loveland, Colorado, to bring this program together. I'm going to be quiet and let these guys speak for themselves. But this is absolutely a labor of love. This year, we have reached a milestone. We will, hopefully, God willing, will have fixed over 300 houses in this local community, as well as brought back $2 million of economic impact, as well as offering hope and inspiration to the residents that we've been able to work with. So I'm going to be quiet and let someone else.
What's your name, sir?
My name's Andrew Beach.
Andrew, nice to meet you.
Good to
There you
meet
go.
you.
Yeah, tell us what you guys do.
Yes. At camp, my name's Andrew Beach. I'm the director of this particular work camp this week. People at camp call me Sheboygan. It's kind of a fun camp name. But what's really cool about this whole program is that these guys pay to come here to serve you guys, so that youth leaders like these guys over here can impact these guys here, which can impact your community. They invest into them, and then these guys invest into your community, and they love it here. They grow so much closer to God through this experience, and it's just a wonderful experience for them. So I'm going to let a few of them talk. I'll be quiet, and they'll share some of their own experiences.
All right, hi, I'm Cassie Lee. I'm from Castle Rock, Colorado, and I really enjoy being in Iowa this week, and I really love doing work camp because I can really grow in my faith with God and Jesus and everything, but also spend it with my youth group, and I can also spread positivity and my faith with the community and see how they grow and impact it, and it's really a great feeling to see how you're helping others. So.
Hi, I'm Lauren Schultz. I'm from Plainfield, Illinois. I really enjoy being Waterloo, Iowa this week. It's really cool. It's kind of better than my last mission trip that I went on. I like being on mission trips because I really like growing closer to God and having myself change, and also being able to change the lives of the residents that I help. So that's pretty cool.
I'm Dan Moran. I'm from Aurora, Illinois. This will be my 4th mission trip. It's cool because my first one was also here, so it's nice to have my 4th and final one here as well. And I noticed the change in the first family I helped out when I was here, so it's nice to see that happening again. It's also nice because it's like 1,000 degrees back home, and it's much cooler here. But I just like the opportunity you get to go help people who don't have as much as we do. And it's just nice to see the change and impact you make on the community in just a single week.
Hi, my name's Colin Curry. I'm from Castle Rock, Colorado, and this will be also my 4th work camp. I think it's amazing when I come to work camps to see the change in the residents and the change in my crew and my church. And an example of that is 2 years ago, my resident, they were really nervous to meet us, and by the end they were out there working with us and getting to know us and trying to help us, and the whole time on the last couple days were really just helping us out, and it was pretty awesome.
So tell us, what do you guys do? I mean, what kind of work do you do? And what do you do?
We mostly do small home repair. Most of the projects this week include exterior and interior painting, includes deck projects, and it includes wheelchair ramps. We're also doing some minor work inside, maybe some drywall patching and some baseboard work, and installing a door or two here and there. We sometimes we get up on roofs and all that, but this week we weren't fortunate enough to be able to do that. So, we're given the projects we have, and we're glad to have them.
Good. Okay. Would you guys like to say? No? Well, tell us who you are anyway.
My name is Elisa O'Neill, and I'm from Aurora, Illinois. And although this is just thank you, Dan. This is just my 2nd year with group mission trips. I've worked behind the scenes with our youth for probably 7 or 8 years, helping with the fundraising primarily to get them here, and with some of the religious education. And after seeing them come back transformed year after year, I decided that I needed to be in on the action and kind of see it firsthand and not just hear about it when they got back. The amazing thing is to see the transformation in our own youth as they learn that they can truly be an instrument of God and impact the world around them one step at a time. It's amazing to see the impact on the residents and some of them coming out of their shells and kind of see their faith awakened again because they've had some hard times, and now they see these young people who give up a week of their lives and money to come and support them. And it's just great to see what they bring back to our church and the community as a whole. And it's beautiful to see that God is truly alive in Waterloo, and we're glad that these kids can be representative of that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Basalda. I'm from Castle Rock, Colorado. I'm one of the chaperones with this group. We give up as chaperones a week of our vacation to come out here to help your community and be involved with the youth. So that's what we contribute. It's a great experience. It's my 5th work camp, 5 years in a row now. Just fabulous to see the transformation not only in the youth but also the participation of the residents. And some of the kids say, "Oh, I got a painting project." Some of these people, this is the most fixed up their house has been, in a long, long time. And just painting it, making it look new, and just giving, putting some more love back into the house and reaching out to the residents is just fabulous. So it's a great program. Thank you for having us. We certainly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Thanks, all of you. Melissa,
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Good job. Thank you very much. Quentin, why don't you say a couple of words here to close
And
out?
just, Sheboygan, the program on Friday is at what time?
It's at 7:30.
7:30 at Central Middle School in the gymnasium. On Friday, we're having a community celebration where the young people and the residents actually get together and they have a celebration, and it's a really great experience for those that would like to come out and visit and see what's going on. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. God bless you. Good job. Good job. Coach, you guys, you're welcome to stay for the entire council meeting if you'd like. If you don't want to, nobody's going to be offended if you guys want to add up. So it's up to you. And I will just say what a fabulous way to start a city council meeting, of all of the things that we get involved in these days. To have two groups like this come and talk to us and introduce themselves is just pretty awesome. So thank you, both of you.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hart?
I move that we receive, place on file, and approve the consent agenda items 1A through C4. Also, with the approval of the consent agenda, I move that we make our bills payment, which we read by our finance chair.
The bills this week are $2,377,092.82, 2,377,092.82.
Second.
Council, you have any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Madam Clerk, please.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Very good. The motion carries. Item 2.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Schmidt.
Item number 2 is a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing, and that's for the purchase of emulsions to support the fiscal year 2016 seal coat program.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries, and the hearing is now open. Madam Clerk, were there any written objections on file to item number 2?
There were none.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak either for or against us purchasing some emulsions for the seal coat program? A second time.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion and to close the hearing.
Second.
Council, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adopt a resolution confirming approval of plans, specifications, form of contract, etc.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adopt a resolution authorizing to proceed.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to receive and file and instruct the city clerk to read bids and refer to Public Works Director for review.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please.
Okay, the first bid was from Bituminous Materials and Supply of Des Moines, Iowa. Their bid was for $24,950, 24,950, and that was for HFM-25 and CSS-1. The second bid was from Flint Hills Resources of Dubuque, Iowa, and their bid was for $130,850, 130,850, and that was for CRS-2P and HFE-300.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adopt a resolution on awarding the bid for HFM-25 and CSS-1 to Bituminous Materials, Des Moines, Iowa, in the amount of $24,950.
Second.
Madam Clerk, that's a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Very good. That motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adopt a resolution then awarding the bid for CRS-2P and HFE-300 to Flint Hills Resources, Dubuque, Iowa, in the amount of $130,850.
Second.
And that is a roll call bid also, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Very good. The motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Cole?
I move we receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing on the request to approve the FY 2016 Police Department ammunition bid.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries, and the hearing is now open. Madam Clerk, are there any written objections to this item?
There were none.
Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak either for or against the Police Department ammunition bid? A second time.
I move we close the hearing.
Second.
Council, do you have any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
I move we adopt a resolution confirming approval of bid documents, specifications, form of contract, estimate of cost, etc.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
That motion carries.
I move we adopt a resolution authorizing to proceed.
Second.
Madam Clerk, also, please.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I move we receive and file and instruct the city clerk to read bids and refer to Director of Safety Services for review.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Okay, I'm not gonna read the bid prices because they're for all different kinds of ammunition, but the first bid was from Sunset Law Enforcement LTD, and the second bid was from Ultramax Ammunition, and those bids are on file in the clerk's office.
Okay, and the reason the clerk is not reading them tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as she said, that there's a long list of the different kinds of ammunitions and all kinds of things. If anyone would like to see it, that is on file in the clerk's office. Item number 4, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Welper.
number 4 is a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of a public hearing. That's the request to fulfill the fiscal year 2016 police vehicle equipment needs.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Hearing is now open. Madam Clerk, were there any written objections on file to this item?
There were none.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak either for or against filling our police vehicle equipment needs? A second time.
Mr. Mayor, I move to close the hearing.
Second.
Council, do you have any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adopt a resolution confirming approval of bid documents, specifications, form of contract, estimate of cost, etc.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please, it's a roll call vote.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adopt a resolution authorizing to proceed.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I move to receive and file and instruct the city clerk to read bids and refer to Director of Safety Services for review.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Madam Clerk.
There was 2 bids. The first bid is from Electronic Engineering of Waterloo, Iowa. Their bid amount per car was $12,246.76, 12,246.76 plus $75 per hour technical service rate. The second bid was from Celtic Incorporated of Baxter, Iowa, and their bid amount was for $13,476.66, 13,476.66, and they are plus $189 per hour technical service rate.
Very good, thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's do resolutions, please, and if someone would take the first 3, 5, 6, and 7.
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Cole.
5, I move we adopt a resolution approving the award of Hotel Motel Tax Council discretionary funds to Waterloo Leisure Services in the amount of $10,000 and to Aspire Therapeutic Writing in the amount of $7,000. 6 is a resolution concurring with the determination of the city planner that the proposed change to the approved site plan for GMJ2 Industries in an R1 RP planned residence district shall be approved as a minor site plan amendment for a new house to be constructed toward and addressed from Eureka Street, located at the northeast corner of Eureka and Vermont Streets. 7 is a resolution approving an Iowa DOT agreement for traffic safety improvement program funding, studies and public safety initiatives in the amount of $60,000 and authorize mayor and city clerk to execute said agreement.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Council, do you have any questions or comments regarding those 3, 5, 6, or 7?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Could we just have a brief overview on item number 6?
Sure. Eric?
Eric Schrader, city planner. The site in question is zoned R1 RP plan district, so it is site plan specific. When they went through the site plan approval process, it did show all of the homes facing towards Vermont, and the wording in there indicated that they would not be addressed or face Eureka, so this is a change. The ordinance has wording for minor changes just because that went, as it was going through the approval process, there wasn't necessarily opposition from the neighborhood, but there was neighborhood interest in the overall design and layout, so we just wanted to make sure that there was kind of an opportunity in case any concern is raised. We're not aware of any that has been raised. This is just turning the one house to face Eureka instead of Vermont. Thank you.
Further questions? Madam Clerk, it's a roll call vote on those 3, please.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. Let's do 8, 9, and 10, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Morrissey?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving supplemental agreement number 1 with AECom of Waterloo, Iowa, in the maximum amount payable of $19,800 for construction-related services for the fiscal year 2016 11th Street Bridge repairs, contract number 890, and authorize mayor to execute said document. Number 9, a resolution recommending the final acceptance for the delivery of a front-end loader with ramp bucket from Murphy Tractor and Equipment Company of Waterloo, Iowa, and authorize the release of payment estimate number 2, the final, in the amount of $14,555.68 for the fall 2015 purchase of snow removal equipment at Waterloo Regional Airport via FAA project number 3-19-0094-0043. And number 10, a resolution concurring with the determination of Community Planning and Development Director that the proposed change to the approved site plan within a S-1 shopping center district and to allow for the construction of 3 buildings along the north portion of the property and 2 buildings to be constructed to the south located at 200 East Ridgeway Avenue is minor and shall be approved as a minor site plan amendment.
Second.
Very good. Council, questions or comments regarding any of those 3, 8, 9, or 10? Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Could we do 11 by itself, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hart.
move to adopt a resolution approving a 7% ICE rental rate increase for contracted and non-contracted ICE users and new early bird private ICE rental rates for the 2015-16 season.
Second.
Very good. Council, questions or comments regarding this item? Mr. Smith.
Mr. Hudding, when was the last time we had a rate increase for ice rental? Remember?
Paul Hudding, Leisure Services Director. It was last raised, I think, 3 years ago. I can double check that for you. I didn't bring that information, but it's been a few years. And we're not just raising, we're also changing with the weekday early bird private hourly ICE rate. We're actually reducing that rate for an individual in anticipation of having more participation in those early mornings. And we think that'll bring more net revenue in. So, for example, someone who was paying $75 per hour, a single skater, would pay $25 an hour, but only $10 per skater if they can get a group in there. So the max they would pay would be $80. So it's a way of filling up those morning hours, allowing more people to skate, and hopefully covering some of the expenses for keeping it early, open early.
Thank you.
Sure.
Further questions? Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Very good. The motion carries. 12, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hart.
move to adopt a resolution approving acceptance of staffing for adequate fire and emergency response, safer hiring grant.
Second.
Council, questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Got a couple questions. We, I believe, found out on Thursday, or at least the council found out on Thursday, that we had been approved for this grant application, I think, for 3 firefighters. When did we find out that we had received that grant approval?
Thursday. About Pat, you can confirm that for me, please. We had an indication that maybe a couple of days prior to that, but we didn't know that we had received it. I believe it was even Friday. No, it was Thursday.
Pat Truler, Chief Fire Services. We had an original email sent July 10th, which would have been Friday. We had a follow-up email with the official award letter with a point of contact Tuesday, July 14th. The email came in about 6 o'clock in the morning.
So on July 10th, we had a anticipation we were going to get approval for 3?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, the award date for the actual procurement period is July 10th.
Didn't we on Monday, the 13th, didn't council approve hiring 2 additional firefighters?
You approved to hire 4. 2 that were short for retirements.
Right.
And 2 that council funded July 1st this fiscal year, 2015.
Why wouldn't we have used 2 of the 3 from SAFER for those 2 new hires, just out of curiosity?
It's all based on the level that we wrote the grant at. So the grant was submitted March 3rd of this year, and I believe council approved 2 additional positions at the March 5th meeting, if I got my dates correct. So we based the grant off of a funding level of 105, and we showed a need to get to 108 because we lost through 3 positions through attrition July 1st of 14. So we wrote the grant narrative to get us to 108, and that's what the federal government agreed with us on to fund us to that level. So fast forward to July of this year, we're at 107, and we wrote the grant to get to 108. So I'm requesting an amendment to the grant for 1 personnel to get us to the 108 mark.
Is there any way of rescinding the 2 additional positions that council, I shouldn't say we because we didn't all vote for it, the 2 additional positions that could be paid for with federal funds rather than taxpayer funds? Would there be a possibility of doing that?
Yeah, I suppose we could try. I've had 2 communications with the grant people, the point of contact. They need a roster in July 28th is the time frame. I did indicate to them via email of our changing in staffing levels. And the response back was, if you'd like to amend your award down, please email me and we'll work on that. So I don't have the answer to that. I would say we got to get to the 108 mark off of the approved numbers, and the approved numbers are 107 starting this year.
And when you're saying we got to get to the 108, that's to appease the grant folks, the federal government, or when you're saying we got to get to the 108, that's based on?
That's based on our grant narrative and a show a need to replace the 3 positions we lost through attrition. And if you remember back to the workshop we did on this, it was not a priority necessarily to fill positions lost through attrition through the SAFER grant. The number 1 priority was to hire back laid-off firefighters. So we fell into the second category of filling positions lost through attrition, and that's the category we're under. So we lost 3. We said we need to replace those 3. Now the majority of council said we're going to give you those 2 positions back July 1. So it kind of takes a little wind out of our sails for the grant. And I think the only way to proceed is to ask for 1.
And to be clear, Mr. Schmidt, I just want to add, we did not know when we brought that to council on Monday, correct me if I'm wrong, that we had gotten the grant yet. There was some indication that we had been strongly considered and that we may, but we had not gotten confirmation that we had gotten the grant. So Pat came and talked to me, and it was my decision that we go forward with those full-time positions and ask council for the approval for those for 2 reasons. Number 1, we didn't know that we had the grant. And number 2 is, as you're very familiar with, those federal grants have a beginning and an end, and then you lose those positions. And it was my feeling that fire need to be staffed at that level permanently, not for 2 years.
And I'm sorry, Pat, you were mentioning there about or you used the term the 3 laid-off firefighters?
No, the 3 positions lost through attrition.
I think you said.
I just wanted to make it
you said laid off.
Well, no, the priority for the SAFER grant was to replace laid-off firefighters.
Okay.
So we're under the category to replace firefighters lost through attrition.
Okay.
And that's the point I'm trying to make. So we lost 3 through attrition.
Mm-hmm.
We proved that. We showed the documentation. And now the feds are saying, yeah, we'll backfill those 3 positions lost through attrition for 2 years with no city match. The rub, if you want to call it that, is council filled 2 positions back for this fiscal year, which was a different number, obviously, from when we put the grant in, submitted March 3rd.
Well, I would, number one, certainly like to see if we could get those two positions funded with federal funds rather than Waterloo taxpayer funds, if that's possible. I don't know what that would take on your part. And then number two, I guess the other question I have, going back to the original SAFER discussion, as I remember, one of the differences between that and the COPS grant was it did not have the entanglement, for lack of a better term, that should we determine during this period of time that we didn't need these positions, that should we decide to reorganize this department or merge with another department or whatever, that we would not be bound by this like we were with the COPS grant. And didn't we hear Thursday morning now, has that changed? So is that grant changed, or the wording's changed, or did we misunderstand, or help me understand that?
No, what I'd indicated at the March 5th meeting to a question that was brought by Councilman Jones was if we did reduce our, what's called maintenance number. So over the 2-year period, if you were to approve this grant tonight, we would need to stay at the 107 number. If we went below that for whatever reason, there's the potential to apply for a waiver that would enable us not to be in default of the loan. Finding out more about the waiver, it's clear to me that there would have to be a cut throughout the city in public safety. So not only just the cut in the fire department, say PD would need to be cut as well. If that occurred, then we could apply for a waiver to potentially not be in default of the grant if we were to cut our maintenance level in those 2 years. So I did bring it up at the March 5th meeting and said there's potential for a waiver. There is a waiver. I think it would be difficult to not be in default of the loan if we did cut staffing in that 2-year period.
Okay. And so then going back to my previous question, those two questions, what would it take to find out whether or not we could get these two positions funded with federal funds rather than Waterloo taxpayer funds?
Let me interject again. I'm sorry, Mr. Schmidt, but one of the things it would take would be my approval, and I won't approve that. I want those two positions that council approved to be permanent positions and to not have to be having this discussion again in 2 years as to how we're going to backfill positions that we've lost. So I think that there's a real need, and council, the majority of the council saw that when they approved those two positions to be replaced, to be backfilled.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones is worried about the residential building in Waterloo, how we could fund positions like this. And at the other day when he asked the question, he didn't have the numbers, but now the numbers are out. Valuation of residential, which are, single family and 5 or more unit housing, is down 68% from fiscal year 2014. We can't sustain our operations being that far down in residential because that's the people that pay police and fire. So I don't think we should either get the 3 positions federally funded, which is about $500,000, or not fill this position.
Okay. And what's being brought to council tonight is to accept the grant with 1 position, not the 3. It would take council action to rescind, and I'm not sure how you do that. I'd have to refer to the clerk, council's action from last week that approved the replacement of those positions. So you'd have to rescind that because you already have approved it. We spoke with Councilman Jones prior to him leaving because we knew he wouldn't be here. We knew his concern on this. Pat, do you want to share? I mean, if this was court, it would be hearsay, so it would be inadmissible. But Pat did talk to Councilman Jones.
Well, I did mention to him after the agenda meeting in regards to the waiver and it being a difficult task, I think, to get it done if council were to cut positions during that 2-year period. I'm just trying to look at my notes here from the email from our point of contact, what his wording was, because I want to be clear that we would still, if council were to approve this tonight, we still have to negotiate an amended award. So the award is going off of those old numbers that we put in March 3rd. So we'd still have to put an official request in to amend that down to 1 personnel. And the contact says, if you wish to reduce your award, we can amend that award now and give the remainder of the money to another fire department. If that is the case, contact me below and we can start negotiations. So the potential is there that they say no, but I highly doubt it.
What do you think the potential is, Pat? Now, I mean, we had to notify them. They know that council has approved 2 permanent full-time hires. What do you think the potential is with Mr. Schmidt's argument that we now go back and say, well, since you've given us our grant, we're not going to do the full-time hires, we're going to take all 3 from you. What do you think the potential in that is? And I know it's a guess, but what do you think?
Yeah, it'd be pure speculation on my behalf, but I would think that they would refer back to the narrative, and then the narrative was clear to get to the that we're at 105, we need to get to 108. I know I keep saying the same numbers, but they're important. In the award letter that I did give the council as part of the attachment, there's numerous referrals to our budget narrative and what we presented in the package. So, I mean, I suppose we could try to change it mainstream. I just don't know how we navigate those waters.
Yeah, timing was not good.
No, absolutely not. But when we did the workshop, we did indicate that we thought that the funding cycle, well, we knew the funding cycle started in July and ended in September. We got funded in the 2nd round. From what I could see, we're the first Iowa department to get funded this go around. So I think it's a positive thing. And we got to remember, even if you just approve it for the 1 or what we're asking for, it's 100%. There's 0 federal match. There's 0 retention requirements after the 2-year period. The COPS grant, everybody was aware of that. It was 3 years, 100% paid, 4th year, 100% paid by the city. So it's a little different. We think it's a good way to get federal dollars back into our community and help the department.
One more clarification, Pat, that the 2 positions that were approved by council to be backfilled aren't going to be hired July 1st. They're not going to be hired until, what, September, October?
The 2 additional positions?
Yes, right.
Correct.
Backfill positions.
Correct.
Yes.
So the reinstated positions,
Yeah,
I like to call them.
Yes, thank you.
In part of our budget, with the negotiations, there was a dollar amount set in there for the delay hiring. So we intend on hiring 4 in late September.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Mr.
Mr.
Schmidt?
I just, I hate to leave $500,000 on the table. And if we have the potential of saving the taxpayers $500,000, I'd certainly like to try that.
Well, I'll do whatever my marching orders, sir.
I would ask the clerk, what's the process, or the city attorney, if Mr. Schmidt wants to make a motion to rescind council's action last week, how does that happen? Or does it? Okay, Mr. Hart, sure.
And I think the point is just asking the federal government if this is a possibility, if there can be at least some conversation about the 2 and the 1, or at least asking if that can be a possibility. Maybe that's what I'm hearing, maybe not. But I think if they could supply the majority of those positions out of that 3, or to get us up to that level, that would probably be something favorable to everyone. So at least an initial conversation to ask. But, I'm still interested in moving forward with what's proposed with the 1, but at least asking to see if that could be a reality.
Mr. Mayor?
Just a second, would you answer it, Mr. Hart?
Sure. I mean, I'm certainly willing to try anything. We got a July 28th deadline to submit a roster, and that roster is to match up the grant narrative. The first 2 communications I had with our point of contact were both come back and said refer to the grant guidance. So refer to me to page 12. Make sure your narrative matches up to your roster and go from there. So it won't. I'm certainly willing to have that discussion. I just don't know what that will look like and how we get it done by July 28th.
Yeah, there again, timing is really an issue, a critical issue. Mr. Lynn?
Just a question. When
Yes, sir.
we approve that as a committee, the hiring of the two, for a committee,
Human Resources?
does it
Yeah.
then come to council at this meeting
No.
to approve the hiring? I've seen things come to the council.
The
that-
appointment of the actual officers, but you've given permission to fill the vacancies or fill the positions.
In a committee.
But the committee consists of the
Yes,
full
I
council
understand.
on that. So,
But I'm
Mr.
just-
Morrissey, you have a question?
Well, to me, we're revisiting something that we've already dealt with.
We
I
are.
mean, we voted on this at the budget hearings in March. We knew at that time that there was going to be the SAFER grant, and we knew the possibilities at that point in time, which included this, and now we're revisiting it, and we're rehashing something that already was decided on by council. And the other part of this is about rescinding. I think in order to rescind that, somebody who voted in favor in the positive would have to make a motion to reconsider in order for that vote last week to be reconsidered, if I read Robert's Rule of Order Parliamentary Procedure right. Susie?
And I agree with that. There's kind of those are two separate issues, and I would say until you had an answer, you probably wouldn't want to do anything with the Human Resources Committee. Technically, the award you've been given right now is for 3.
Correct.
That's what I don't get.
Try-
Why would we flush $500,000, Pat? Explain that to me.
Well, if you want to go to 110.
Okay, I'll control the floor. Mayor Weidner, Michelle, please. There you go.
Michelle Weidner,
Wishful
Chief
thinking.
Financial Officer, and as the person that coordinates our federal audit, I think you're all overlooking a very important point. I don't think you can go back and change a budget you already approved. You approved a budget with a certain level of staffing. I think you're putting the city in a very risky position to try to not be honest with them and say that their grant application was wrong when they submitted it.
Well, I certainly won't do that.
I mean, it wasn't wrong the day you submitted it, but 2 days later it was wrong. I mean, I believe I am not comfortable not disclosing that to them. I don't.
Well, I'm
think
certainly not
that's
talking about
false
not being
information.
forthright at all, so I don't want anybody misunderstanding that. But my point is, if we knew on the, and I'm sorry we got dates flying all over here, but the Thursday before, last Monday, I think if the council would have known that we had 3 positions funded, and you said you got an email inferring that but not confirming that, if that's...
July 10th, an email came, and the emails don't come to me. I've set it up with 3 different people. But, yeah, July 10th was the award date. And Monday, we had a follow-up email, and then Tuesday was the official, here's your point of contact, which was July 14th, if I have the dates right. Both Barb McBride and Battalion Chief Moore forwarded me that email because it doesn't come directly to me.
I think.
So I don't know what your... was there a
I really
question?
don't think last week matters, the action that was taken last week, because I believe that this grant will be controlled by what we budgeted for this fiscal year. I don't think the day that we approved working on filling the positions really has any impact. The positions that we took action on are in the budget, and I think when the federal agency, the oversight agencies look at that, they're going to be looking to how many positions we budgeted, not how many were here on any given day. Because that's another issue that we get into, and we got into it with the COPS grant. When you have vacancies, you have to eventually fill the position for the stated number of days that we have to have the positions. So I just don't think the timing of filling them is the issue. The issue happened in March when we applied for the grant, and then we approved a different city budget than what the grant application was based upon.
And didn't we have conversations during that process of application that you stated and we purported that if we got the grant, we would cut the grant to 1 position?
We would
enter into agreement to try to amend
Try
it.
to
and that-
amend
Yeah,
it
and that was
at
the
that time.
discussion from
Right.
Mr. Jones' standpoint, was
Right.
if we add back these two and we happen to get the SAFER grant,
Yeah.
then what happens?
Yeah.
Said, I'm not 100% sure, but we would go for an amended award and try to get one out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I stated. I'm pretty sure that's what the record would show.
I think that's correct.
But I mean, I'm with you, Mr. Schmidt. If we could get all three positions, I'm a Waterloo taxpayer as well, and I don't want to give up, say, $300,000 or whatever the amount is. I just don't know how we get there when it's all based on numbers. I mean, it's for adequate staffing, and we set the bar at 108, and we're at 107 right now. I don't think we can just make those two positions vaporize because we got the grant, the two that were funded back July 1st of this year.
And Chief Treeler, my memory serves me with the recollection that when we were discussing this at budget negotiations, that those that prevailed on that wanted to see those positions, not knowing for sure if the grant was even going to be approved. I mean, there was no certainty that this grant was going to come through in our favor.
No, I was very surprised that we got it, obviously pleased, but I was surprised that we got it. Because it's not a top priority in the funding cycle for the SAFER. Because these firefighters that were trying to fill those positions were not laid off. We lost them through attrition.
So, I mean, I commend you for doing that, and thank you for doing that.
And I just think, ladies and gentlemen, that we, again, the budget's been mentioned several times correctly by Ms. Wiedner, that council approved the budget that put these two firefighters back in. And July 1st, that happened. Council approved that. And so I think absolutely, those are permanent positions. Those are going to stay in the police department or in the fire department unless another administration removes them. And I think that that's important. And what this grant does is gives us a free fireman now for 2 years. And I think we should be elated at that. Or at least we think it does, and we're hopeful that it will. Mr. Flynn?
Just remember, we lost $35 million in residential valuation. And we didn't know that at budget time either, when we made these decisions.
Mr. Lynn, I continue to profess that one of city administration's main jobs is to keep its citizens safe. And one of the main ways we do that is in the police department and fire department and keeping staffing levels adequate. And I don't think the staffing levels are adequate in our fire department, and I think this brings us up to a much closer level to where that is. So I think if funding today is not an issue, if it becomes one, then we have to find ways to fund police and fire.
So what would it take you to find out whether or not we can save the taxpayers $500,000?
Well, I guess I can try the point of contact again.
And I don't know if that's something I can request, or that's something we have to have the council vote on. I guess I'll have to defer to the city clerk or the attorney for that. But I would certainly recommend that.
The one thing I would note is that the way that this item is on the agenda, I don't think there's anything in here that specifies how many we're getting. This is accepting the grant as they'll give it to us. Basically, right now it says 3. If they come back and say you can only do 1, that they'll only do 1, I think we're still safe if this is approved. If they came back and said we could fund all 3, I think we'd still be safe if you voted to approve accepting this grant. If Pat sent that email out and said which way can we get it, and they picked one or the other, I think we'd still be okay. They can chime in.
I don't know if it matters, Susie, but in the summary statement, I was asking for approval to accept an amended award in $165,944, which was in the council communication. So, I mean, the subject's obviously to approve acceptance of the SAFER grant, but I'm asking for an approval at an amended amount. If it's proper etiquette to approve it at the full amount, I'm in, but I need to have some leeway to go down to that 165,944, and that's what I was looking for tonight, was approval from the council to allow me to try to amend that award down to 1.
Mr. Hart can certainly amend his motion if he wants to say the level that we get it amended to. So whether it be the 3 or the 1, he can certainly amend that. It's
I mean, maybe that's the
on
way to
table.
go. We try for the 3.
Well,
with full understanding that you got to give me some leeway here to get it approved. We need to send that roster in the 28th. I guess I can look to see if there's an extension.
I would still make the argument, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, that what we're doing then is let's say Mr. Smith's proposal passed and we rescinded that, so we got 3 firefighters for 2 years for free. In 2 years, you're going to be back having this same discussion that you're having today. And my intent is to not have that discussion. My intent is to have 2 more full-time firefighters of the city of Waterloo that don't have to worry about losing jobs in 2 years or being replaced through attrition. That's my intent, and I think that's the crux of this, is I want 2 full-time firefighters and I want a free one for 2 years.
I think if we amend, excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
If we amend it to go to 1, then we take any type of negotiation or whatever it is, or even asking the question off the table to get to 3 to 1. I trust Mr. Traylor's word that it will remain at 1 for the negotiated. But if we only say 1 right now or amend this, then there is no being able to ask a question because it would just be 1.
And Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Morrissey.
in order to vote on this resolution without changing it, the resolution is, as Chief Treelor has stated, he says in the summary, we are asking for approval to accept an amended award amount of $165,944.
Right.
And that's what we're voting on. We're not voting on anything other than that unless somebody submits an amended agenda, which we already voted that the agenda was going to be as stated, which cannot be amended unless we have a 2/3 vote saying that it's going to be amended, which we did not do at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay? We have a new parliamentarian.
Isn't that great?
Well, unless I'm wrong, City Attorney Zelfer.
Well, I tell you what, we have a gentleman that would like to weigh in. Yes, sir?
David Garner, 3145 West 4th Street. I guess my question is that the budget approved 2. He's asked for 3 more. Takes us from 107 to 110. We protect the 108. We hear these numbers being thrown out. So if we can get to 3, fantastic. We've got the ability then to release 2 of them and still stay at 108, which is what apparently the numbers I'm hearing are we want 108 for our staffing level. So let's go for the 3.
That was my suggestion in the beginning, and
Okay.
we thought we might have trouble selling that.
I can't believe you and I agree again.
I know.
Well, let me ask you a question, but the number of 108 or 107 was put in, yeah, you're right, there's a lot of numbers, but what was the number that was placed in the grant that we need for adequate staffing level 4?
To get to 108 to fill the 3 positions that were lost through attrition. That was the whole basis of the grant, is that we lost 3 firefighters to attrition. That was a second priority in the grant funding, and that's the section that we went for to fill back the 3 positions that we lost through attrition.
And so we can't go under that, but we can go over that?
We can try if that's the direction of council. You want me to try to get to 110? I'm all in.
I was just asking.
Seriously, I am. I mean, I didn't even want to approach that because I'm respectful of the 107 number that's funded for this fiscal year,
Well, and that would
2016.
also, wouldn't that also put us in violation of the tenets of the grant, Pat? I mean, because in your application, you said that we've been reduced if, and to Mr. Dreyer's point, if we'd have to be square with the grant people that the council has approved to firefighters. And with that, I doubt that they're going to approve giving us 3 more since they know we've approved 2. So I think
Pure speculation on my behalf, but I think it'd be a hard sell, but I'm willing to go there. If council wants
Well,
to
there's
take
too
us to
many
110.
options, and we have to
Yeah,
get
I'm-
this done by next Tuesday.
The roster needs to be
Mr.
in by
Morrissey.
next Tuesday, correct.
But we're voting on just 165,900, which
That's
is
correct.
1 position.
That's correct.
We're not voting on possibility of 3.
That's correct.
This resolution is just for 1 position. It's an amended grant that Chief Treelor had submitted.
That's correct.
And just to follow up, I did attach the actual award so council could read it to make sure that you understood that it was that larger amount, and the reasons why I'm trying to amend it down.
Yeah. The vote is actually, the resolution that's been approved, Pat, is you're absolutely, or has been proposed, is you're absolutely correct, is to approve the SAFER grant for the 165, which would be one fireman.
So if this resolution were defeated, then we would have the option of making another proposal to apply for the 3. Is that correct?
I doubt it, but I don't know.
That's why I was asking Mr. Treeler.
Oh, sorry, could you say that again, please, Mr. Schmidt?
If this resolution were denied or defeated, could we then have another motion to, because you're looking to adjust the grant for the 3 down to 1. So if we defeated that, then you could send the grant in for 3, correct?
I don't know about send the grant in, but I could certainly say.
Submit.
We're at 107. We want to use 3 of the positions to get us from 105 to 108. We want to use 2 of the positions out of the SAFER grant. Or I guess we could go for 3 is what your point is.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I'm willing to try.
I appreciate that.
Can we call
It's
the
just a
question?
little complicated here for me right now because, like I said, I'm respectful of the 107 number, and that's what I'm going off of.
All right, further conversation?
Call the
Let's,
question.
Okay, Madam Clerk, it's a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
No.
Mr. Lind?
No.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries. Item number, let's do ordinances. Item number 13, please, let's do them one at a time.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hart?
move to receive, file, consider, and pass for the first time an ordinance amending the 2008 traffic code by repealing subsection 66 West 11th Street and East Ridgeway Avenue, section 540, obedience to official traffic control devices, signalized intersections, for an ordinance amending 2008 traffic code by repealing the subsection West 11th Street for obedience to official traffic control devices, signalized intersections.
Second.
Council questions or comments regarding 13?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Lynn?
Sandy, is that just to take out those stop signs up in that intersection? That stop sign / school crossing?
Sandy Greco, Superintendent Traffic Operations. What it's doing is taking out the pedestrian signals. We're keeping in the stop sign and the flashing beacon. So there won't be a pedestrian crossing there with signals right at that intersection.
Okay. Then I have a question for the other one too, but I'll wait.
Further questions on 13? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Sorry? All in favor, please say aye.
It's a roll call. It's a roll call.
Isn't that what I said? I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, move to consider and pass for the second and third times and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Very good, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries. Number 14,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hart.
move to receive, file, consider, and pass for the first time an ordinance amending the 2008 traffic code by deleting section 540A, activated hybrid beacons in its entirety and substituting in lieu thereof a new section 540A, activated hybrid beacons to 2008 traffic code, including East Ridgeway Avenue and the 1500 block of 1525 East Ridge Avenue.
Second.
Very good. Comments?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Lynn?
So Sandy, the new thing they put up there with those big deals showing the Ridgeway both ways, are those the flashing beacons?
Yes, those are the new hybrid hawk signals that will be totally out until, say, a pedestrian comes and pushes the button. Then they will flash yellow, flash red, stay red, and then after a certain amount of time, they'll go dark again.
But where do they cross? There's no crosswalk.
We're putting in sidewalk with ramps
Oh, okay.
and also, yes, a
But it's not
crosswalk.
done yet.
No, it's
Okay.
not,
All right.
no, it's not ready yet.
Gotcha.
Very good.
Thank you.
Further questions? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, move to consider and pass for the second and third times and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Very good, that motion carries, thank you. Next one, item 15, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Morrissey?
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and consider and pass for the second time an ordinance approving a request by Hammond Hills Development to vacate portions of the 5-foot utility easement located on lots 146, 147 of Hammond Hills 6th Edition on a request by Hammond Hills Development to vacate portions of the 5-foot utility easement located on lots 146 and 147 of Hammond Hills 6th Edition.
Second.
Council? Questions? Madam Clerk, please.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to consider and pass for the third time and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries, thank you. 16.
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Cole?
I move we receive, file, consider, and pass for the second time an ordinance approving a request by RK Waterloo LLC to vacate a 16-foot utility drainage easement located at 1921 Hawthorne Avenue.
Second.
Very good. Council, have any questions? All in favor, please? I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, it's a roll call vote.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I move we suspend the rules.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries.
I move we consider and pass for the third time and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Very good, the motion carries. Thank you, Council. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our regularly scheduled business tonight. It's time for oral presentations. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the mayor or council, I'm sorry, now is the time to do so. But I do have one individual that called in and requested to speak in extra time. Ken Budke, is Ken here? You're not Ken Budke. I know Ken Budke. I kept looking back there and see. Miss Budke, please.
Okay, I'm Pat Budke. My husband and I own Heritage Square, which is at 3005 Kimball and Tokyo Steakhouse.
Mhm.
The sidewalk has been, we did not realize when we got this letter that the sidewalk would be taken out. They changed, there's a sign that has all these tenants' names on it. The sign had to be moved. I don't know if the city or the contractor, someone had to take the sidewalk out. We have no problem getting the sidewalk repaired, but it seems ridiculous to us to have, as of this week, I have to have all the sidewalk replaced when we still have, if you, and you all know what the intersection of Kimball and Ridgeway is
Sure.
like right now with the construction going on. We're just asking for delay.
Yeah.
When it's done, we'll be glad to.
Yeah. Ms.
Hey, put
Budke,
it back in.
have you spoken to anybody in the engineering office
Yes.
and to Wayne Castle?
And they
anybody?
told me that I had to come here.
Okay, Eric, can you meet with Ms. Budke after this is over and try to get that squared away there on that, please? Just when we're done here, you can meet with Eric very quickly and should be able to get this taken care of.
Okay,
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Dave, let
Yes, sir.
Bruce, please.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Thank you for hearing my comments. Again, right now, because it's back to school, it's time again. Next battle we have to deal with is accessibility for all, for the curb cuts, for the snow removal. Please, add that to your thinking, please, too, because in the past, I've been here numerous times, complaining about the fact that the curb cuts are inaccessible in the wintertime with even abundance of snow. Because the properties usually clear the sidewalks, fully sidewalks downtown here. The street department does an excellent job moving the snow from the street, but the place they pile the snow up on is the curb cuts for the sidewalks. So you come out of your apartment building, you go around the block in circles because you can't go across the street. There's a wall of snow right there where the curb cuts are. A wheelchair, a walker, or...
Bruce, thank you. And you're absolutely right. We do have issues clearing those timely. We do the best job we possibly can. And as far as fixing those curb cuts and those ramps, as I explained to you a couple of weeks ago, I think we are in the process of redoing all of our ramps in the city to make them ADA handicap compliant. We have issues in the neighborhoods and downtown with business owners who don't clear their snow in a timely manner, and I will be the first to recognize that and tell you that we need to do a better job of getting that done. And I will commit to you that we will try that, particularly on the ramps and in those curb cuts.
Again, too, I'd like to submit my name and my wheelchair for consideration for be an advisor for these projects too, because like I say, we better be proactive than reactive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Effective in monetary savings, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Bruce, very much. You bet.
God bless you.
I like your hat. Are the Cubs going to win it this year or not?
David Dryer, 3145 West 4th Street. Back to this, actually item 12 with the staffing and the fire. Is Amesboro open yet? Full-time? Amesboro Fire Station?
I think most of the time, I don't know where we are on that. Yeah.
Well, a lot of
please
times
go
I
ahead.
see a fire truck coming from the north rather than from the south.
Okay, well, just a second. Let's.
Pat Treeler, Chief Fire Services. I would say it's been, this fiscal year it's probably been closed maybe a handful of times,
Okay.
6 times.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
I guess the question I
Thank you,
had
Pat.
was that I thought that once the budget was decided for July 1st, that fire station would be fully staffed. I'm hearing now that we aren't going to start hiring anybody till September.
That's correct. The budget that was approved, Mr. Dryer, didn't identify funding for those firefighters, and actually till the 1st of October.
Okay, didn't know that. And then I guess the other question, or the other thing I'm hearing is we're asking for a staffing from the federal government for 165 plus for a firefighter. That's what they make?
That's salary and benefits and everything. I'm not sure where that money. That's for
Okay.
3 years. I mean,
2
that's-
years.
Oh, that's for
That's for
2
2
years.
years, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And then final comment, the pile's getting bigger, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, motion to receive and file oral comments and adjourn to executive session.
All right, Mr. Zollifer, are we are we going to executive session correctly?
We are going to executive session correctly. We are discussing litigation, and that is allowed pursuant to Iowa Code Section 21.5.
Madam Clerk, it's a roll call vote, please. I don't
I
know.
did.
Pat did.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. We're all adjourned to executive session. Thank you all very much for coming.